Hey guys, how you doing? Can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully. All right, great. Thank you, Shannon. All right, let me close the blinds here. Do that. Hopefully it helps the lighting a little bit. All right. So everyone's been before, so I'm going to assume that everyone knows the basics here. If anyone has any questions for me, just let me know. You can unmute or you can leave something in the chat if necessary. Let me see if I can adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Let's see here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Start as we often do with a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it meditation, but centering is maybe a good word for it. Just finding a seat on your mat and your eyes closed, allowing your awareness begin to move with your breath. We really want to focus on and this is a very important concept when it comes to yoga, at least my understanding of it, my experience of it. Many of us assume that we know how we need to change, how the world needs to change, how other people should change. But what if nothing we perceive is really how we perceive it, including ourselves, including others, including the world? And so maybe nothing needs to change. Or maybe it doesn't need to change in the way that we think. And so before we make an effort to fix anything, we just really allow it into our awareness fully. Another name that I could give to allowing in fully is love. Really allow something in without resistance, without having our guard up, without needing to change, is to love something. Very often when we love something really fully and completely, we might find that there is no need for change. And if there is need for change, we find that our way of creating change is different than we would have gone about it if we were not in love, if we were not really allowing this awareness in fully. So let's approach our breath from that loving awareness today. Using the same techniques as we always do, I think you all are familiar with them. But sometimes familiarity can allow us to fall out of love, to not pay attention, to not be aware. Thinking that we know someone or something can breed a sort of false sense of familiarity in the mind. Sometimes being familiar with something can help with love, right? Can help with awareness. Sometimes it can actually get in the way. So we have these three familiar techniques that we use with the breath. 3-part breathing, the ocean sounding breath, and the equal inhalations and exhalations. So our mind is very often attracted to novelty. And the ego might believe that we need something new or different in order to experience a ecstatic state or a spiritual state. My experience is almost always when it comes to spirituality, the simpler the technique, the better. Very often it's the simplest techniques that we learn early on in our spiritual journey that end up becoming the most powerful. So let's not let familiarity or simplicity interfere with our full engagement with these techniques. Once you've established those breathing techniques, the pranayams, we'll then move forward into a tabletop position, and we will begin warming up with a little bit of movement. So moving the spine back and forth or side to side. I'm going to do a little bit of both. And usually I encourage you to coordinate the breath and the movement here. Paying attention to the sensations that the movements generate. Noticing how they might affect the breath. Noticing any sort of thoughts that arise in the mind that we might call self-speak. The mind is sort of speaking to itself, talking to itself. Good. And then when you're ready, coming into the downward dog. And just taking your time and reconnecting. It's not uncommon. Let's come into our full expression of down dog. And again, since you've all been practicing with me for at least a few weeks, if not longer, and assume you know the techniques. So I'm going to focus on different things, other things. You could say deeper things in the practice today. So as we hold this down dog, let's just allow ourselves to notice if there is expectation or anticipation in the mind. Is the mind moving into the future? Or is the mind commenting somehow disappointed with this moment, expecting that the class was somehow supposed to be different than it is, or this moment was somehow supposed to be different than it is? So if that's the case, it's not at all uncommon. But you could say that spiritual awakening, enlightenment, is also uncommon. So while it might be common for our mind to have had a picture of this class and what we thought would be happening right now, it's exactly the uncommon that we are trying to cultivate and to grow and to allow to blossom in our mind. So putting aside those thoughts, those disappointments, those ideas, and just really coming into this experience of this down dog. And if we do that, we notice even though we're holding the same posture, the experience is changing. As I hold this with you, I begin to feel tingling in my shoulders and my fingers and my arms. So that even though the posture is the same, the experience is changing. Imagine how we would feel if we held this pose for the rest of the class. We won't do that, don't worry. But imagine how differently we would feel. With our next exhale, let's walk our feet to our hands. Come into a ragdoll. Generally a little easier to hold than the down dog. And we're still just as much engaged with this posture as we were with the down dog. Noticing any subtle sensations in the body as we move. And I encourage you to move a bit here. So we were pretty still in that down dog once we got into it. And let's nod our head and shake our head and sway our hips here. And the arms relax as we inhale, we'll gradually roll up to standing, stacking the ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and heels. Let's take those shoulders, we'll roll them forward, up, back, and down. Let's do that 3 times. Just noticing if there's tension in that part of the body. And then just reverse it again 3 times. Back, up, forward, and down. Good. Just letting the shoulders relax down away from the ears. With your next exhalation, see if you can allow just all the expression or tension to just melt off of your face. The jaw relaxes, the teeth part slightly. Tongue rests gently behind the teeth. If thoughts are there, we're not attaching to any of them. We're just allowing them to sort of come and go. And same with our feelings. We might feel a strong emotion. That's okay. We're just allowing ourselves to notice that it's there. Doesn't mean we have to do anything. It doesn't mean anything is actually wrong. Right? If I have an emotional reaction to a situation, it doesn't actually mean that situation is a bad situation. It doesn't mean anything's actually wrong. Alright, let's begin our sun salutation. So if you can, stand with your feet together. Otherwise, hip distance, inside edges of the feet parallel. We're still using the deep breathing techniques. As you inhale, we'll draw those arms up. We're going to touch palms and lift the heart as we come into a standing back bend. Exhale as we come forward and down, placing the palms flat on the ground. Inhale to the half lift, filling the lungs there. As you exhale, step back to the top of the push-up. Okay, so again, I'm going to assume you three know how to do this practice with me. So you can do this with your knees up or down, and as I mentioned every week, what's going on with the shoulders is most important. Okay, so whether we choose knees up or down, we're going to make sure that we come down and our elbows hug our ribs like this. Then we can inhale to an up dog or a cobra. Then we can exhale to a tabletop, a push-up, or straight back to the downward dog. And let's take a few breaths here. And go ahead and silence my phone. So I think it's still making some noise here. All right. So taking a few breaths in our down dog. And again, we can use our asana practice like a very, very deep meditation. And just noticing any expectation that arises in the mind. And whatever it is we're doing, whatever pose we're doing, whether we're moving or we're still, we just really relax into this moment and let it be just as it is, without needing to fix it or judge it. We also don't need to fix our reactions or our thoughts. And we just notice them. Good, let's do another. We come to the toes between the hands as we exhale. Step, jump, or float to the front edge of the mat. Inhale all the way up. Standing back bend and exhale forward and down. Inhale to half lift, and again, you can step back, you can jump back, top of the push-up. Again, your choice. Take a deep breath. Exhale halfway down. Inhale up dog or cobra, and then exhale push-up, tabletop, down dog. Let's do one more like that. So we come to the toes, exhale, step, jump, or float to the front edge of our mat. Inhale all the way up, standing back bend. Exhale, forward and down, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, step, jump, or float to the bottom of the push-up if you can. Inhale to upward facing dog. And then again, exhale back to down dog. And you have 3 different ways that you can do that. Okay, so as usual, I will not be doing the next 3 rounds with you, what we call half breath transitions. And the reason for that is it really affects my teaching in an adverse way. It's hard to teach and do active yoga like that at the same time. So I'm going to skip it, but I'm going to encourage you to do it. Okay? It's very good for you. If I weren't teaching, I would happily do it with you. Okay, so we're going to inhale to our toes, fill the lungs there. As we exhale, we'll step, jump, or float to the front edge of our mat. Let's inhale all the way up and back to standing back bend. Exhale forward and down. Inhale to the half lift. You could also do a crow pose here. And we'll exhale right to the bottom of a push-up. We're going to inhale to our upward facing dog, filling the lungs there. And we'll exhale straight back to the downward facing dog. Inhaling to the toes as we fill the lungs there. Let's exhale, step, jump, or float to the front edge of the mat. Inhaling, standing back bend all the way up and back. And exhale, forward fold. Good. Inhale to half lift. And exhale to the bottom push up. Inhaling to the up dog and exhale, dog. Let's do one more. So inhale, fill the lungs, come to your toes, look forward, and exhale, forward fold, run onto the mat. Inhale all the way up and back, standing back bend. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale to half lift, and exhale, bottom of your push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog as you fill your lungs there, and exhale right back to downward facing dog. Good, let's take a few breaths in downward dog. Let's again just check in mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically. And again, the only way we really are able to see clearly is if we let go of judgment, expectation, anticipation. These things, you could say, arise naturally in the human mind, at least the way that we are conditioned. We are sort of conditioned to indulge in that aspect of the mind. But it could be different. The mind can be trained, it can be taught, it can learn different patterns. And so what teachers like the Buddha discovered a long time ago is that the way that we are taught to think, most of us, doesn't actually make us happy. It doesn't actually lead to a fulfilling life, and it actually causes us to suffer. So what he tried to show and teach was another way of thinking, another way of training the mind. And that was passed down generation after generation, and it has reached people like me. And I found a lot of truth in what the Buddha taught, so I try and share that with you. Okay, so let's continue with our practice now, and we'll learn Sun Salutation B. So let's bring our feet to touch here on the mat. We're in our down dog, but now the feet are touching. We're just going to inhale that right leg up and back to the three-legged dog. Now let's open up the hip a little bit here. Let it open up. And then if you'd like, you can flip your dog over, lift the hips up, move that arm around a little bit. Right, so try not to collapse here. See if you can lift up and make sure this shoulder is stable. So if not, you're just going to return to three-legged dog, and we will in a moment anyway. Let's return to our three-legged dog now, and we'll really focus on the form here. So hips are level with the ground, and the foot and the knee are pointing straight down. Hopefully you can see that. Sending energy out through that heel. So sending energy right out through that heel. Good. Let's do just a little bit of core here, just for fun. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, and as we exhale, let's touch our knee high up on our right arm. Good. We're going to inhale, draw that leg up and back. And let's do one right in the middle. Just touch. Good. Inhale that leg up and back. And let's do the opposite arm. Touch it if you can. Good. Inhale up and back. Let's exhale that foot between the hands and drop the back heel and inhale to our Warrior One Virabhadrasana. Okay, so again, I'm going to make an assumption that everyone who's in attendance today knows this posture. If this is your first time doing my class, then just pick another. If you're watching this later, it's your first time, just pick another class. I'll give a lot more basic instructions. But let's really sink into this. Let's feel that front leg working. Let's feel that back hip stretching. Let's feel that openness that we're creating in the chest. Okay, sending energy out through the fingertips. So the whole body is like singing right now. The whole body is alive. Now, if we interpret sensation, then we might interpret some sensation as, pain or discomfort, or I don't like this. But let's just put those aside and just notice how alive, even something like pain or discomfort, it can make us feel so alive if we're awake to it. We're not judging. And that experience of being alive is such a gift. All right, let's take a nice deep breath here. We're going to exhale back down, bottom of our push-up. And we'll follow our way back to our downward dog. Good. And let's do the other side. So we'll bring those feet to touch. Inhale that left leg up and back. And let's open up that hip and the side a little bit. Move it around a little bit. Shake it out a bit. And then from there we can flip and lift. Move that arm. Lifting those hips up. Good. From there, we come back into three-legged dog pose. Try not to hit your side table if you're at home. And then again, let's just do a little tiny bit of core. We bring that knee up, touch the left arm as high as we can. Inhaling the back. Exhale, let's try and touch nose, knee, chin, or forehead. And then other side, let's just try tap it. Beautiful. Now that leg up and back. Exhale between the hands. Drop that back heel, inhale up, warrior one. Good. So let's again connect with the sensations in our body and that feeling of aliveness. Within aliveness is pleasure and pain. Okay? Different, we might call different sensations, our interpretation of different sensations. But if we're not alive, we're not going to feel any pain. And some people today are technically alive, but they're not really alive. They're so afraid of feeling discomfort, pain, and certain emotions that they basically shut themselves off. And you can't shut yourself off from just the bad emotions and the bad sensations. Take a tranquilizer or something like that, you're really not feeling anything. So let's feel good, the bad, the ugly. Let's really enjoy this warrior one. Breathe into it. Good. Exhale. Bottom of the push-up. Follow our breathing back to our downward dog. All right. Beautiful. So again, I'm going to encourage you to do 3 rounds of half-breath transition. I will verbally guide you through that, and then we'll do some standing postures after that. Now, again, I'm sure you all have heard me say before, I'm not encouraging you to hurt yourself or do more than you can do. So if you've had a rough week, you're tired, you're injured, honor where you are. But also believe in your invulnerability. There is a part of you that is invulnerable. And it's not your physical body. But sometimes when we get enough in touch with that enough, it actually affects our physical experience. Experience what we maybe call miracles through that. Okay, let's inhale to our toes. We're going to exhale to the front edge of our mat. Let's do a pose that I left out of the sequence, which is chair pose. So go ahead and bend our knees, inhale up to the chair. And we'll just hold it for a few breaths because we skipped it earlier. So we're just going to let those hips sink down. And I did forget, sorry, I wasn't intending for me not to do it. Arms are back, framing the ears, right? Face is relaxed, jaws relaxed, very important. Let's exhale into our forward fold. We'll empty the lungs there. Inhale to the half lift. And we'll exhale right to the bottom of our push-up. Inhale to the back bend, could be cobra, could be up dog, and exhale back to downward dog. We're going to skip three-legged dog, so let's inhale that right foot forward as we raise up into our strong warrior. And then we're going to exhale to the bottom, push up. Let's inhale to the upward facing dog, and we'll exhale right back, down dog. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one, and exhale to the bottom of the push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale back to downward dog. Let's inhale now to our toes, fill the lungs there, and we'll exhale, step, jump, or float to the front edge of the mat. Inhaling to chair pose, exhale to forward fold. Let's inhale to our half lift. We're going to exhale to the bottom of the push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale right back to down dog. Let's inhale that right foot forward as we raise the torso to warrior one, and we'll exhale to the bottom of our push-up. Inhaling to up dog, and we'll exhale back to down dog. Let's do the left leg. Inhale, drawing it through and coming on up, and we'll exhale right to the bottom of our push-up. Inhale to the upward facing dog, and we'll exhale back to downward dog. Let's inhale to the toes, fill the lungs again. We'll exhale, making our way to the front edge of the mat. Let's inhale to our chair pose, sinking down, feeling those thighs and glutes working. Exhale to forward fold, empty the lungs. Inhaling to half lift, really fill, top off the lungs there. And then exhale to the bottom of your push-up, and try not to rush moving out of that pose. Inhale to upward facing dog, and we'll exhale back to downward dog. Let's inhale the right foot forward as we raise up, warrior one. Exhale, back down. Inhale to upward facing dog, exhale back to downward dog. Side, we're going to inhale left foot, come on up, deep breath, full expression of the pose, and exhale right back down to the bottom of the push-up. Let's inhale to our upward facing dog, and we'll exhale back to our downward dog. Let's go through it one more time. Inhaling to our toes, filling the lungs there. And as we exhale, we step, jump, or float to the front of the mat. Inhaling to the chair pose, deep breath in. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to our half lift, and exhale to the bottom of our push-up. Inhale to the upward facing dog, and we exhale to our down dog. Let's inhale the right foot forward, raise the torso, Virabhadrasana, and exhale, bottom of the push-up. Let's inhale to our upward facing dog, and exhale to the down dog. Let's do the other side. Inhale left foot, warrior, come on up. And then exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana, low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale back to downward dog. Good. Let's take a few breaths here. Feel free to grab a sip of water. You can also try a more challenging posture because you should be nice and warmed up now. So if you are having arm balance and inversion that you're working on, I'm not going to guide you through that, but this could be a good time to do that. And if you need to catch your breath, try a child pose or a Virasana, so just sitting maybe on your heels for a few breaths. And downward dog is actually not a bad choice for just catching your breath. It's one of the functions that it serves in the Vinyasa sequence. That's why we always return to the down dog. Okay, so here we are in our downward dog. And today I want to focus on the groin or adductor muscles a bit, and then we'll do some postures once we sort of open those up a bit more, hold some postures I should say. So let's inhale the right leg up and back. We're going to exhale to a lunge, and then let's inhale to our warrior one, And then we're going to exhale and open up into a warrior two. All right, let's really find this warrior two pose here. So the front foot intersects the back foot at the heel of the arch. So if you drew a line back, it hit there. Back leg is straight, front knee is bent, and the knee is right over the heel. Okay? We want to avoid having the knee back here or out here like this, over the heel. Just try and get it right there. Try and sink into it so you're feeling your legs. So my legs are already actually kind of tired today. I don't have to go that far to feel it. I feel a stretch here. I feel this front thigh working here. Okay, good. From there, let's go ahead and, oh yeah, we're reaching our fingertips out like we're trying to touch both walls. The arms should go parallel. And our gaze over that front, those front fingertips. Good. From here, let's move on. We're going to inhale up into this position. This is more or less a neutral position, and it's called a stupa, okay, which is a type of, it's like a Buddhist monument or temple or statue. Now, as we exhale, we'll bend both knees and we'll come down into a goddess. Okay? So we're in our goddess. We're sinking down. Again, we're working the glutes, we're working the thighs, and then the inside of the thighs are stretching here. So see if you can find that. And you want your knees and toes basically pointing in the same direction. Good. From there, let's go ahead and inhale. We'll come back up to our stupa. And as you exhale, let's open up to warrior two in this direction. Okay, let's take all those same cues and details, really find our warrior two pose here. So again, it's not just the alignment, but also the feel of it. Can you let those shoulders relax a little more? Can you let that face relax a little more without losing the form? As we inhale, let's come into a reverse warrior. So we're stretching our sides. We're trying to feel a stretch here in our side. Okay? The bottom part stays exactly the same. All right, let's exhale to our warrior two. We'll inhale up to our stupa and exhale back into the goddess. And let's do that again. Inhaling up. We exhale to warrior two. And let's do reverse warrior on this side. Good. Exhale to warrior two. It's beginning to flow through it now. Inhale up. Exhale warrior two. And inhale reverse warrior. Good. Again. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let's go all the way down. And let's do that same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're just basically doing more reps, but just to make it even. So I'm going to come over this way so that you'll still be able to see me. Okay, it's up to you whether you need to look at the camera or not. Okay, let's bring the right foot forward this time. We'll inhale up into our warrior two on the other side. So we're beginning on the other side this time. Now again, it requires some engagement to hold the posture. But let's see what doesn't need to engage here. What is tensing unnecessarily? Maybe the jaw, maybe the eyes. Let's just let that tension go. Using just the muscles that are needed to hold us in this position. Nothing more, nothing extra. Good. Let's inhale, we'll come up to our stupa. As we exhale, sink into our goddess pose. Let's inhale back up to our stupa. Exhale to our warrior two. And let's inhale as we reverse and stretch the side again. Good. Exhale up. Inhale stupa. Exhale goddess. Good. Inhale up. And exhale warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Good, exhale, warrior 2. Inhaling up, scoop up. Exhale, goddess. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse, peaceful warrior. Good. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Good, and then we exhale all the way down. And we make our way back to the downward facing dog. Good. All right. So now we're going to try some standing postures, holding them, and this will involve some balance. So let's go ahead and bring that left foot forward. We'll inhale to our warrior 2 again. And this time we're going to inhale and straighten that knee. Okay. And from there we're going to pivot our hands and arms open, preparing for a triangle here. Legs are straight. The front foot is pointing straight ahead. Take a nice deep breath here, and as we exhale, let's lengthen. So notice my sides, right? They're long. I'm not doing this. I'm not collapsing down. So I'm reaching forward and really lengthening my sides out. And I'm going to pivot my arms into a 6 o'clock position. Okay, and I'm feeling a stretch right in here, maybe a little bit here. But again, I'm not trying to round and stretch. So my ribs and my hip are actually equidistant on both sides. Okay, so again, it's more about lengthening out here. It's not so much about coming down. Okay, so I'm lengthening out. Good. That shoulders back, that gaze is up. We're breathing here. You could have your hand on a block. You could have your hand on your leg. Both of those are fine with me. Or you can just have your hand in the air. Looking up, breathing here. Nice. And then let's bend that front knee, and we'll see if we can transition to the balancing half moon. Okay, so I'm going to lift that back leg up, try and get it parallel with the ground. Again, I could have my left hand on a block. My right hip is rolling back, my right shoulder is back, my gaze is up. My arms are in a 6 o'clock position. And how is my breathing? What is the mind doing? How is it processing this moment? What does it think? Can it just let go of having an opinion and just fully absorb the sensations and experience, sense perceptions, and experience of this moment without having to decide about this moment, without having to rate it or judge it. Good. Let's exhale. Come on down. And make our way over to the other side. Now again, I'm going to move positions, but that's just for the camera. So you can do so too if you want to face the camera, but otherwise you can just do the other side. So let's bring that right foot forward. And inhale up to our warrior 2. Good. And then inhale, straighten that knee and pivot our hands open. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale as we reach and reach and reach and lengthen. Right? So look at how long my sides are. Right? If I go further, I start to round down. So I'm not doing that. Reaching out, then I pivot into a full expression of triangle. It's a great question to ask when doing postures. And while you're holding them, instead of just waiting for instruction to go into the next pose, ask yourself, how could I surrender to this more? What could I let go of here that I'm holding on to? And it could be a physical sensation, maybe your shoulder, you're doing something, just let that shoulder relax. It could be mental, again, expectation, an opinion. we're lighter and we're freer without them. Good, let's bend that front knee. Bring our gaze down temporarily, and then we transition off that back leg. Okay, so I'm not trying to be lazy. I'm not trying to do the easy thing. I'm trying to do the full expression of the posture, but still find a sense of ease in it, right? The ease in the work, the release in the discomfort, in the pain. And it sounds like a contradiction, and true spirituality is full of contradiction and paradox. It doesn't add up, it doesn't make sense. It's not logical. Good. Let's exhale, and we will make our way back to our downward dog. Great job, everybody. Wonderful. Okay, so from our downward dog, let's go ahead and come on down to a kneeling position. So I mentioned this posture earlier. This is called Vajrasana, where you sit on your heels. Virasana is sitting between your heels. And you could sit on a block. So if this hurts your knees or your ankles, you can sit on a block. You can also add a little padding to your ankles if you like. Just let those shoulders relax down away from your ears. Just close your eyes and let's just return to that deep breathing. Beautiful. Let's do a little bit of camel today. And let's just start with a dynamic version of this posture. So hands on the hips. Let's tuck those toes, lifting the heels up, knees and heels hip distance. Right now, as we inhale, we'll draw the right arm up. And we're going to lean back. Exhale back to center. And inhale to the other side. So we're just going side to side with the breath. And if you want to go deeper, reach back and grab the heel instead of your hip or your back. Okay, so it just looks like that. Still pressing the hips forward. And exhale back to center. Inhale, open the chest. And exhale to center. And I'd like you to focus on opening the front of your body from your knees through your chin. If it hurts your neck, obviously you're not going to let your chin go back too far. If it feels okay, just let that chin go back. Now, again, to our mind, we're repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And the mind loves change. It loves to be challenged. It loves to be entertained. So it can check out really quickly. So we want to notice if it does. We just want to keep coming back. There's a lot going on here. There really is no repetition. It's not possible to repeat in life anything. So we're really just paying attention, feeling each unique back bend. Good. Let's come back to center and we'll hold the camel now that our back should be nice and warmed up for that. So let's start with our hands on our back, pinkies touching. Elbows are in toward one another. Okay. And then we're going to take a nice deep back bend here. So inhale, lift that heart. Again, focus on opening up the front side of your body. Hips forward, heart lifting. It's up to you whether you let your chin go back or not. If you feel comfortable doing so, grab your heels and press the hips forward. Good. Inhale, come on up. And let's exhale to Vajrasana. Virasana. Relax, breathe, and feel. Good. So let's try another. Now, if your back is talking to you at this point, then you're not going to go as far, right? Or you're certainly not going to try and go further. Okay? So we want to have a lot of compassion for our body. We're not trying to turn it into anything. We're not trying to make it do anything it's not supposed to do. But generally speaking, human bodies like being used. They like to be challenged. They thrive on it. It's only when we get fearful and we believe our thoughts about our own limitations that we begin to run into all kinds of problems. Good. We inhale, come on up. And again, we return to Vajrasana, Virasana. And feel. Good. Coming forward onto all fours. Let's just drop our hips a few times from side to side. Releasing our back. Beautiful. You can press back into a child pose. Let your hands come back toward your heels. And just take a breath there. Breathing into the low back. From here, let's inhale, sit up, cross our ankles, and our legs out in front of us. And let's do just a tiny bit of core activation here with the boat pose, Navasana. So we'll take our hands underneath our knees, like so. And what we'd like is really to sit very, very tall. So notice the tendency is to do this. Notice my back is rounded. Okay, I'm going to try and straighten it up. Okay, so it's really, really straight. Now I'm going to keep that. I might lean back a little bit, and I let my shins come level with the ground, right? So my legs are parallel to the ground, and my navel's lifting up toward my knees. So again, look at my back. It's as straight as I can make it. Now you can stay here. There's already plenty of core activation here. But a little more challenge, you release the arms. And they also go parallel to the ground. Right? For even more challenge, try and straighten those legs. You might lean back, but again, your back is straight. So that navel is lifting up. Good, breathing here. And again, how can I relax into this without releasing the posture? What can I let go of here without coming out of the posture? So that I can relax and be really present with the experience. And my body is shaking, and that's okay. I'm feeling a lot of sensation, and that's okay. Right? I don't have to do anything about that. I can just keep breathing and keep living, and I can actually feel energized by that experience. Good, one more breath here, and then let's exhale and we'll come on back onto our back. Let's relax. Ah. Let's bring those legs in and give them a nice squeeze. Make a few circles at the knees in both directions. And then, extend those arms out. We're going to drop the knees over to the left. So we look to our right. Let's release our breathing techniques. Close those eyes. And remove any effort to move. And we'll inhale our knees back to center. We'll take them off to the other side. Good. Let's inhale those knees back to center. We'll grab the soles of our feet. Just a little bit of stretching and happy baby here. And then when you're ready to relax, when you're done with happy baby, you can spend some time there if you'd like. But when you're ready, go ahead and relax back into your back in Shavasana. And I'm going to leave you to do Shavasana for about 6 minutes, which is 10% of our class. Okay, and I hope you enjoyed the class today. If anything came up for you, then reach out and let me know. And we can chat one-on-one about any problems that you had with the postures or otherwise and try and resolve that. Hopefully nothing did. And I'll hope to see you in the next class, which is Yin Yoga at 6 o'clock. And if not, I'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks again for coming, everyone. And I will see you next time. Namaste.